Alright, a bunch of functions, find the zeros and find the y-intercepts. In other words, find the x-intercepts and find the y-intercepts. Here are the rules for both of these. Memorize this, write it on your arm, it's very important. If you're finding zeros, or if you're finding x-intercepts, because they are the same thing after all, you do that by saying y equals 0. If you're finding y-intercepts, you do that by setting x equal to 0. Okay? X-intercepts, y is 0. Y-intercepts, x is 0. You're always zeroing one variable and then seeing what that does to the other one. So, in this case, if we want y to be 0, that means we're saying 5x squared plus 15x minus 20. This entire function equals 0. Yes, I could have put it on the left. I put it on the right because I think it reads easier that way. Now, how do we factor this? A 5 comes out. X squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0. That's a bracket. It should be round. Now we need two numbers which add up to 3 and multiply to negative 4. How about a 4 and a negative 1? If you want to put those in the opposite order, no problem, it'll work. So the zeros, if you picture solving this, if x plus 4 equals 0, you'd solve that and get that x must be negative 4. Or, alternatively, if x minus 1 equals 0, 1 goes over to the right-hand side, you get x equals 1. Those are the two zeros, also known as the roots or the x-intercepts. Good news, the y-intercept is easier. To find the y-intercept, you plug in x equals 0. So for this thing, you would do 5 times x squared plus 15 times x minus 20. That term is 0, it just drops out. This term is 0, it just drops out. The y-intercept is negative 20. So you can see how they're quick to find, these y-intercepts. Any term that contains an x is just going to vanish. It'll just go to 0. So 0, 0, negative 20. This is your y-intercept. Generally pretty easy to locate. Let's see if we can do it again. Common factors, no. So to factor this, we need two numbers that add up to minus 11 and multiply to 3 times 10 is 30. I believe they are negative 5 and negative 6. So if we use decomposition on this thing, we get 3x squared minus 5x minus 6x plus 10. Right? Minus 5 and minus 6 are taking the place of the minus 11. Now if we factor this by grouping 2 at a time, x comes out of the first pair, and that's actually it, and leaves us with 3x minus 5. Negative 2 comes out of the second pair. I took out the negative because the leading term was negative, and that's not a good thing. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 makes 3x. 10 divided by negative 2 gives negative 5. Now, we can factor out the 3x minus 5s because there's 1 in each of these terms. They're identical. And with those gone, we're left with x minus 2 equals 0. I should have been writing that throughout these steps, because if we're trying to find x-intercepts, you're assuming that y is 0. So here we get 3x minus 5 equals 0. Solve that, you'll find it's x equals 5/3. Or from this other piece, x minus 2 equals 0. Solve that, and in about a second and a half you'll find x could equal 2. So again, we have two zeros. Now what about the y-intercept? Quick, do you see it? Without doing any calculation? It's going to be 10. To calculate it, you put in x equals 0, which means for this function you'd go 3x squared minus 11. Sometimes you have to do this because they say find the y-intercept, show your work. So everywhere there's an x, you put in a 0. And you get 0 minus another 0 plus 10. The result is 10, so that's your y-intercept. And last one. If they want this to equal 0, they've given it to us already factored, which is very nice. That's most of the work out of the way right there. So either 2x equals 0, divide that by 2 and you get x equals 0. That's one of our solutions. Or the other one it could be is 2x plus 1 equals 0, which solves out to x equals minus 1/2. There's our two roots. Y-intercept. Not quite so easy to see in this version because it isn't all expanded out, but we can still find it by doing x equals 0. For this expression we have 2x, and then we have our big brackets, and inside those is 2x plus 1. So how does this work out? 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 0 times 1 is 0. So this one has a y-intercept at 0.